Have you ever been behind the wheel and suddenly felt like the road just wasn't as comfortable as it used to be? Maybe it's the glare from the headlights at night, or the way traffic seems faster, noisier, more impatient. If you've had those moments, you're not alone. And let me tell you, just because you've hit 70 doesn't mean you have to hand over the keys. Not yet, and maybe not for a long time. Driving is more than just a way to get from point A to B. It's freedom. It's being able to meet friends for lunch, go shopping on your own schedule, take a scenic route just because you feel like it. That kind of independence? It's gold. And with the right habits and a little bit of know-how, you can keep that independence for many years to come, safely and confidently. Today, we're having a heart-to-heart about something that affects so many people as they get older but doesn't get talked about enough. Driving. Not whether you can, but how you can keep doing it in a way that makes you feel good and gives your family peace of mind. We're going to explore 5 simple, practical tips that can help you stay sharp, aware, and comfortable on the road, without the fear, the hesitation, or second-guessing yourself. These aren't fancy tricks or high-tech gadgets. They're down-to-earth changes and reminders that can really make a difference. So let's dive in together. Let's talk about what you can do, starting today, to feel more confident and safer every time you start the car. Now, the first thing might surprise you. It's not about vision or hearing, though those matter a lot. The first thing is your comfort. Yes, really, how you sit in your car. As we age, our bodies change. You might notice stiffer joints, tighter muscles, or maybe your back doesn't quite curve the way it used to. That can make sitting for long periods uncomfortable, especially in the same position behind a wheel. And here's the thing, when your body's uncomfortable, your focus slips. You're thinking about your aching hip or how your neck won't turn all the way instead of keeping your attention on the road. That's why adjusting your seat and mirrors is so important. Take a moment. Next time you get into the car, don't just hop in and go. Sit back, feet flat on the floor, and notice how far you are from the pedals. Can you reach them easily without stretching? Are your knees bent just enough to move freely? Now check your back. Do you feel supported? You might need a small cushion or a lumbar roll behind you. Those little memory foam ones work wonders. Then adjust the steering wheel. You want your arms slightly bent, not locked, and your wrist should rest on top of the wheel when you stretch forward. If that sounds like a lot to think about, don't worry, you only need to do it once and it'll become second nature. The same goes for mirrors. Your side mirrors should show just the edge of your car and the lanes beside you. The rearview mirror should give you a full view through the back window without having to strain your neck. And if turning your head side to side is uncomfortable, consider a wide-angle rearview mirror. They're easy to find and even easier to install. Comfort doesn't sound like a safety tip at first, but believe me, it is. When you're relaxed, supported, and can see clearly in all directions, you're more in control. You're more alert. And that makes all the difference. Speaking of staying alert, let's talk about the second big tip, timing. Not timing like racing the clock, but choosing the right time to drive. One of the smartest things you can do is schedule your driving when you feel your best. That might be mid-morning, after your first cup of tea or coffee, once your body's had a chance to loosen up. Early mornings and late evenings can be tough. Your body might be stiff, your vision might struggle with glare or low light, and let's be honest, rush hour traffic just isn't fun at any age. Think about the rhythm of your day. When do you feel sharpest? When are you most energetic? That's your golden time to run errands, visit loved ones, or take a peaceful drive. And if you're ever feeling tired, stressed, or under the weather, give yourself grace. There's nothing wrong with waiting a little or asking for a ride. That doesn't mean you've lost your independence. It means you're being smart about keeping it. Also, be mindful of weather conditions. Rain, fog, or slick roads can be a challenge at any age, but even more so as reflexes slow a bit. It doesn't mean you can't drive in those conditions. It just means planning ahead. If you know a storm's coming, maybe do your errands a day earlier. If the forecast says dense fog, give it a few hours to lift. Simple steps like that can help you avoid unnecessary stress and risk. Driving should be something you enjoy. It should make you feel empowered, not anxious. And believe me, these small decisions about comfort and timing, they have a big impact on how confident you feel behind the wheel. So now that we've looked at how your physical comfort and your timing can change the game for you, let's take a closer look at how to keep your mind sharp and your senses tuned in every time you drive. Because when it comes to staying sharp behind the wheel, it's not just your hands or feet doing the work. It's your mind. Staying mentally alert while driving is absolutely essential, especially as we age. But here's the good news. Your brain is like a muscle. The more you keep it engaged, the stronger and quicker it stays. You don't need to memorize a map of the world or do puzzles all day, though those help too. It's about staying aware of your surroundings, anticipating what other drivers might do, and giving yourself a few extra moments to make safe decisions. One of the simplest, most powerful things you can do is eliminate distractions. We live in a noisy world. Phones ringing, the radio playing, GPS chirping directions, it can all get overwhelming fast. But when you're driving, your full attention should be on the road. That means turning the radio down, silencing your phone, and if you're using a GPS, set the destination before you start moving. Let it guide you, not distract you. If you wear hearing aids, make sure they're working properly and are comfortable while you're driving. The sounds around you, sirens, honking, even the engine of your own car, are part of what keeps you safe. Being able to hear well gives you more time to react, especially in busy traffic or at intersections. And vision? Well, you probably already know how important that is. If you wear glasses or contacts, keep your prescription up to date. Don't put off your eye exams. Even small changes in vision can affect how quickly you notice a stop sign, or how well you judge the speed of an oncoming car. Also, think about the time of day. Bright sunlight can be just as tough on your eyes as driving at night. So keep a good pair of sunglasses in the car and use your sun visor. It's there for a reason. Now here's something you might not hear often, but it's a game changer. Practice your route. If you're going somewhere new, don't just rely on the GPS. Take a moment the night before to look at the route. Write down a few key turns, note any landmarks, maybe even ask a friend if they've driven it before. Familiarity helps lower anxiety and allows you to focus more on the road than on where you're going. And if you're someone who sticks to the same few places, that's great. But every now and then try taking a slightly different route, just to keep your mind engaged. A new roundabout, a new streetlight pattern. Small changes like that help sharpen your reactions over time. Let's also talk about medications. It's a delicate topic, but an important one. Many of us are on something, maybe for blood pressure, anxiety, sleep, or just the aches and pains of life. But some medications, even common ones, can cause drowsiness, dizziness, or slower reflexes. Always check with your doctor or pharmacist about side effects, especially if you're starting something new. If a medication makes you feel off, even slightly, wait it out before getting behind the wheel. You know your body better than anyone else. Trust what it tells you. There's nothing wrong with taking a break. In fact, it's one of the best things you can do. If you've got a long drive ahead, plan rest stops. Pull into a gas station or a rest area, get out, stretch your legs, drink some water. A 10-minute break can clear your head and keep you from zoning out behind the wheel. There's no medal for driving non-stop. Take your time, it's your journey. And speaking of journeys, how's your reaction time these days? You might notice that things feel just a bit slower than they used to be. That's completely normal. The key is to adjust without giving up. Give yourself more space between you and the car in front. Instead of the usual 3-second rule, try 4 or 5 seconds. That extra room gives you more time to notice if they're braking, swerving, or slowing down. It's a simple habit, but it can prevent accidents and give you a greater sense of control. Also, keep your hands on the wheel at the proper position. Most folks remember 10 and 2, but newer recommendations actually suggest 9 and 3, or even 8 and 4. Why? Because those positions give you better control and reduce injury in case the airbag goes off. It's a small shift, but it can make driving more comfortable too, especially if you deal with arthritis or joint pain. If you're up for it, you can even try a local refresher driving course. Many communities offer programs specifically for seniors. These classes don't just teach, you might be surprised how much they reassure. They give you a chance to brush up on the latest rules, practice techniques in a low-pressure environment, and maybe even lower your car insurance in the process. There's a sense of pride in driving well, not just because of how long you've been doing it, but because you care about doing it right. That mindset, taking responsibility, staying aware, and making smart adjustments, keeps you not only independent, but empowered. You've made it this far in life with strength, wisdom, and more than a few stories to tell. Driving after 70? It's not about holding on to the past. It's about embracing the present with confidence, knowing you still can, and doing it with care. So, let's keep building on that confidence. We've talked about comfort, timing, mental sharpness, and attention. But there's one more part of driving that often gets overlooked. And it has to do with knowing your surroundings, not just your own car. Because knowing your surroundings is just as important as knowing your car. And let me tell you, staying aware of what's happening around you can make all the difference. Think about it like this. The world outside your windshield is constantly changing. You've got pedestrians, cyclists, and other drivers, each with their own habits and behaviors. Staying in tune with your environment keeps you one step ahead, making driving feel safer and more manageable. One thing I've noticed is that many of us get comfortable sticking to familiar routes. And that's totally okay. But if you find yourself driving the same roads over and over, you might start to tune out a little. Just going through the motions. That's why I always suggest mixing things up once in a while. It doesn't have to be a huge change. Maybe take a different street to the grocery store or explore a new route to visit a friend. These small adjustments help keep your brain engaged and sharpen your awareness of what's happening around you. And speaking of awareness, let's talk about intersections. Now, I'm sure you've navigated thousands of them in your lifetime, but as we age, they can feel more complicated, and that's understandable. With cars coming from all directions, pedestrians crossing, and traffic lights or stop signs to consider, it can get a little overwhelming. The key here is patience. Take your time approaching intersections. If you need an extra moment to scan for pedestrians or check for other cars, give yourself that time. You're in no rush. Safety comes first, and there's no harm in pausing just a second longer to be sure it's safe to move. Roundabouts can also be a bit tricky if you're not used to them, and I get it. They've become more common over the years and they can feel confusing. If you come across one, don't feel pressured to move through it too quickly. Watch for signs, yield where necessary, and keep an eye on other drivers. Most importantly, don't feel rushed. If you're unsure, it's okay to take it slow. Confidence builds with experience, and the more you encounter these types of road designs, the easier they'll feel over time. While we're on the subject of staying aware, I'd like to touch on another important aspect of driving: night driving. For many people, driving after dark can be challenging, and that's especially true as we get older. It's not just about vision, although that's part of it. Nighttime driving also requires more focus because everything seems to move faster in the dark. Headlights can glare, street signs aren't as easy to read, and judging distances becomes more difficult. So what can you do? First, don't be afraid to limit your night driving if it makes you uncomfortable. If you prefer to drive during the day when the roads are brighter and clearer, that's perfectly fine. It's all about staying in your comfort zone. But if you do need to drive at night, there are a few ways to make it easier. Keep your windshield clean, both inside and out. Dirt, streaks, and smudges can create more glare, especially when headlights from oncoming cars hit the glass. A clean windshield helps you see more clearly and reduces that harsh reflection. Another tip is to adjust your mirrors properly. Many rearview mirrors have a night mode setting, which tilts the mirrors slightly to reduce glare from the headlights behind you. If you haven't used this feature before, try it out. It's a small adjustment, but it can make a big difference. And finally, slow down. It's simple but effective. Driving just a little bit slower at night gives you more time to react to anything unexpected. Let's also talk a bit about maintaining your car. Regular checkups are essential to staying safe on the road, and this is true at any age. But as we get older, we might not always notice small changes in how the car feels or sounds. Maybe there's a slight vibration in the steering wheel, or the brakes feel a little soft. These might not seem like a big deal in the moment, but over time they can affect how safe your car is to drive. That's why it's a good idea to get your car checked by a trusted mechanic regularly. Even if everything seems fine, a professional can catch issues before they become bigger problems. They'll check things like your tires, brakes, and fluids, making sure everything is running smoothly. And while you're at it, consider upgrading some features of your car for added safety. There are a lot of modern technologies available that can help make driving easier and safer. Backup cameras, for example, are a wonderful tool that gives you a clearer view when reversing. If your car doesn't have one, it's worth looking into getting it installed. And don't forget about tire pressure. This might seem like a small detail, but having properly inflated tires can make a huge difference in how your car handles, especially in wet or slippery conditions. Low tire pressure can affect your car's fuel efficiency too. So make it a habit to check your tires regularly. Many gas stations have air pumps that make it easy, and most newer cars even have a dashboard warning light that lets you know when your tires need more air. It's a simple step, but one that keeps you safer on the road. Another piece of the puzzle is understanding your limits. And let me be clear, this doesn't mean giving up or assuming you can't do something. It's about being smart and listening to your body. If you feel tired, stressed, or just off, it's okay to take a break from driving. Your safety and the safety of others is always the top priority. If that means postponing a trip or asking someone else to drive, that's okay. Being independent doesn't mean doing everything by yourself. It means making decisions that keep you confident and in control. By keeping your car in good shape and staying aware of your surroundings, you're setting yourself up for success. It's about being proactive, making smart choices, and continuing to enjoy the freedom that comes with driving. We've already covered a lot of ground, from mental sharpness to car maintenance, but there's one more piece to this puzzle. And that's understanding the physical changes that come with age and how to adapt. Because adapting doesn't mean giving up, it means staying smart and staying strong. Let's face it, our bodies aren't quite the same at 70 as they were at 40 or even 60. That's nothing to be ashamed of, it's just a part of the journey. But when it comes to driving, even small physical changes can impact how we handle the car, how quickly we react, or how comfortable we feel behind the wheel. One of the most common things that changes with age is flexibility. Maybe turning your head fully to check your blind spot feels a bit stiff. Or reaching back to grab the seatbelt takes a little more effort than it used to. These small shifts in mobility can sneak up on you, but they don't have to stop you. In fact, there are plenty of simple things you can do to stay flexible and keep those movements smooth and easy. Gentle stretching in the morning, for example, can really make a difference. Just 5 or 10 minutes to loosen your neck, shoulders, and back. Not only does this help you feel more awake and energized, but it also prepares your body for things like turning the wheel or checking your mirrors. Some folks like to join a senior yoga or movement class, and honestly, that's a fantastic idea. It keeps the joints moving, strengthens your core, and improves balance. All things that come in handy when you're driving or even just getting in and out of the car. And speaking of balance and strength, let's not forget how important leg strength is. Think about how often you use your legs when driving, pressing the pedals, moving between gas and brake, keeping steady on a hill. If your legs feel weak or unsteady, it might be time to incorporate a few leg exercises into your routine. You don't need a fancy gym or expensive equipment. Just a sturdy chair and a few minutes a day. Even something as simple as standing up from the chair and sitting down slowly, doing that a few times in a row, can help strengthen those muscles and give you more control when you're on the road. Now, while we're on the subject of movement and physical comfort, I want to bring up something that doesn't get talked about enough: your driving setup. A lot of people hop into the car without thinking twice about how they're sitting or how things are adjusted. But the truth is, taking a few minutes to properly adjust your seat, mirrors, and steering wheel can make a world of difference. Not just for your comfort, but for your safety too. First, let's look at your seat. You want to sit high enough that you have a clear view over the dashboard. If you're straining your neck or stretching forward to see, that's a sign your seat needs an adjustment. And while it might sound obvious, make sure your back is fully supported. Many cars allow you to tilt the backrest or adjust the lumbar support, which helps reduce strain on your lower back during longer drives. A small cushion or support pillow can also help if you find yourself feeling sore after driving. Then there's the steering wheel. Are your arms slightly bent when your hands are at the 9 and 3 position? That's what you want, just enough bend to keep control without locking your elbows. And you shouldn't have to lean forward to reach the wheel. Leaning strains your shoulders and neck, and it reduces your reaction time. Sitting comfortably with your back against the seat and your hands relaxed on the wheel helps you drive longer with less fatigue. Now let's talk mirrors. Your side mirrors should be positioned so that you see as much of the lanes next to you as possible, not the side of your car. That wider view cuts down your blind spots and helps you change lanes more safely. The rearview mirror should give you a full view out the back window without having to move your head. Once everything is adjusted properly, you'll find driving becomes less stressful. You're not straining, not squinting, not twisting, you're just driving. And let me mention something important here. If you ever feel uncomfortable behind the wheel because of arthritis, stiffness, or pain, there are small tools that can help. For example, a steering wheel cover with a better grip makes it easier to hold on, even if your hands aren't as strong as they used to be. A larger rearview mirror, or even a panoramic mirror, gives you more visibility without turning your head as much. There are even seatbelt extenders and cushion risers to make getting settled in the car easier and more secure. You don't need to push through pain or discomfort. Adapting your environment to suit your needs isn't a weakness. It's one of the smartest things you can do to stay independent and confident on the road. And confidence really is the heart of it all. Because when you feel good physically, when your car feels like it fits you, when you're sharp and alert, driving becomes what it always was, a sense of freedom. A way to get where you want, when you want, on your own terms. And isn't that a beautiful thing? Now, while we've talked about your body and your car, there's one more key piece of this whole picture we haven't touched yet. It's not about what's inside the car, it's about who's around you. Having support, having people you trust to ride along or check in now and then, can turn an average day behind the wheel into something more reassuring. Because even the most confident driver can benefit from a little company or a second pair of eyes now and then. And no, I don't mean giving up the wheel. I mean surrounding yourself with support, staying socially connected, and recognizing that driving isn't just a solo journey, it's part of how we stay involved in the world. Think about this. When was the last time you went for a drive with a friend or had someone ride along just for the company? There's something comforting about having another person there. Someone who can help with directions, remind you where to turn, or even just chat along the way. It's not about supervision. It's about companionship. And it's a subtle, powerful way to stay engaged and feel more at ease on the road. Especially when you're heading somewhere new or unfamiliar, having a trusted person with you can turn what might feel like a stressful outing into something more enjoyable. They might spot a street sign you missed, or help navigate if your GPS starts acting up. And let's be honest, sometimes just knowing there's someone beside you makes the whole trip feel lighter. But even when you're driving alone, you don't have to feel alone. Staying connected with people, your kids, your neighbors, your community, gives you a safety net, a sense of accountability and reassurance. Letting someone know when you're heading out or having regular check-ins isn't about limiting your independence. It's about protecting it. When people know you're out and about, they're there to celebrate your freedom and to support it if anything unexpected happens. In fact, one of the kindest things you can do for yourself is to be honest with your loved ones about your driving. If you ever feel uncertain, maybe you got lost in a familiar place or had a near miss that shook you up, talking it through with someone you trust can bring clarity. They might share their own stories or offer a perspective you hadn't thought of. Often you'll find that they're proud of you for being responsible and self-aware. There's a quiet kind of bravery in that. Because let's be real, many people our age don't want to talk about driving concerns. They're afraid it means giving something up. But in truth, being open and proactive is exactly what keeps you driving longer. It means you're tuned in, making adjustments as needed, and making sure you're safe before something forces a hard decision. And sometimes, support comes in unexpected forms. Maybe it's a neighbor who offers to drive you to evening events when the roads are dark and your eyes feel tired. Maybe it's a group at your local community center that shares rides to the grocery store or doctor's appointments. These aren't signs of losing independence, they're examples of sharing it. Being part of a network, giving and receiving help, keeps you connected, mobile, and mentally sharp. Even technology can be part of that support system. There are now apps and tools that can alert your loved ones when you start or finish a trip, or help you call for assistance if needed. They're discreet, simple to use, and built to help, not monitor. If you've ever felt a little nervous about taking a longer drive by yourself, something as small as a location sharing app can offer peace of mind. You're still the one behind the wheel, in control, but now with a safety net that travels with you. And let's not forget the emotional side of this. Driving has always meant more than transportation. For many of us, it's tied to independence, purpose, even identity. Being able to hop in the car and go where you want, it's a gift. And when that freedom is supported by people who care, it doesn't just feel safer, it feels richer, more meaningful. I've talked to so many folks who say that once they started reaching out, asking for company on certain drives or joining local senior groups that plan outings, they actually started to enjoy driving again. The pressure dropped and the fun came back. They weren't just running errands. They were socializing, exploring, sharing the road. And if you're someone who has always prided yourself on being self-sufficient, I get it. Accepting help can feel uncomfortable. But here's the truth. Being wise enough to build a support system is one of the strongest things you can do. It doesn't weaken your independence, it protects it. And that's exactly what we want as we get older, to keep doing the things we love safely and confidently for as long as we can. Because independence isn't about doing everything alone. It's about having the freedom to choose your path, and having the tools, the health, and the relationships to walk that path well. And while we're talking about protecting independence, we also need to talk about something that a lot of people avoid, but it's one of the most empowering steps you can take. We've covered a lot of ground so far. We've talked about how your health, staying mentally sharp, driving habits, and connecting with others can all contribute to maintaining your independence and keeping you safe on the road. But there's one last tip I want to share with you that is perhaps the most empowering, and also the most overlooked by many. It's all about recognizing when it's time to adapt, to make adjustments that keep you behind the wheel without compromising your safety. Now, I know this might sound like the toughest part of the conversation. No one wants to think about the day when they might have to stop driving, or even reduce how much they drive. It can feel like the end of a chapter, like giving up a piece of your independence. But let's reframe that. Being proactive about your driving and acknowledging when adjustments are needed isn't giving up. It's evolving. It's about staying in control, not of the car, but of your own journey. And here's the thing. By choosing to recognize when it's time to tweak your habits, you're setting yourself up to enjoy a longer, safer, and more fulfilling driving experience. So, what does this look like in practice? It could be as simple as choosing to drive only during daylight hours, when visibility is better and traffic tends to be lighter. It could mean planning your routes a little more carefully, avoiding unfamiliar roads or complicated interchanges that might be confusing or stressful. Maybe you limit the time you spend on the road, opting for shorter, more manageable trips instead of long, exhaustive drives. There's nothing wrong with adjusting your driving habits to match what feels right for you. If you've been driving for years, you probably have a strong sense of what you're comfortable with. But as we get older, our bodies change, and so do our reflexes, vision, and even the way we process information. Recognizing these shifts isn't about admitting defeat. It's about continuing to enjoy the ride, just in a way that's safer and more sustainable. And that means having the confidence to stop driving in situations where you feel unsure. If you're having trouble seeing at night, don't push yourself to drive when conditions aren't ideal. If the car feels like it's becoming harder to handle, or you're feeling fatigued more easily, it's okay to take a break, or to ask for help. I know it's not always easy to admit that you might not be at your best on the road, but trust me, it's much better to address these things early than to risk an accident later on. Remember, it's not about losing your independence, it's about protecting it. The more aware you are of your limits, the more you can adjust your habits to keep driving safely for years to come. And hey, if you start to feel like maybe it's time to downsize to a smaller, easier to drive car, or if you want to make sure your car is in top condition for the long haul, those are just more ways of adapting to your changing needs. But maybe, over time, you decide that you don't need to drive every day. That's fine too. Sometimes, the idea of a life with fewer trips behind the wheel opens up other possibilities. Public transportation, ride-sharing apps, or even walking for shorter distances. These can all be viable alternatives that free you from the responsibility of driving while still giving you the flexibility to get where you need to go. And here's where it gets really exciting. When you feel empowered to make those changes, you also free yourself up for new adventures. You might take more time to relax, enjoy walks in your neighborhood, or plan trips with loved ones without the pressure of driving yourself. It's about giving yourself permission to evolve in a way that's positive and fulfilling. By making adjustments now when you need to, you're not saying goodbye to your independence. Instead, you're reinforcing it. You're saying, I'm taking care of myself in the best way possible, and that's a decision that ensures your freedom for years to come. So, as we wrap up this video, I want you to remember this. Independence doesn't mean doing everything yourself, or refusing to acknowledge when things need to change. True independence is about making decisions that keep you safe, healthy, and happy. And when you embrace the small adjustments that help you keep driving, whether that's through better planning, staying connected with others, or knowing when to adapt, you're setting yourself up for a more joyful, independent life. And don't forget, driving is just one part of your journey. Whether you're cruising down the road, taking a walk through the park, or gathering with friends, you have the power to live life on your terms. Keep your confidence high, stay connected, and enjoy every moment of the ride. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope these tips help you feel more confident and secure on the road, and most importantly, that they inspire you to continue living independently and fully. Please share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how you keep safe and independent while driving. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more helpful tips. Here's to living your best life at any age. Stay safe, stay confident, and keep enjoying the journey.